I never knew silence could feel this loud. The clatter of silverware, the low hum of conversations, the faint strains of music from the restaurant speakers, all of it vanished into a hollow roar the moment her words cut through the air. You know, sometimes I wonder if I settled too soon. She said it casually, almost playfully, with a little laugh, a flick of her hair, and her wine glass hovering halfway to her lips. Around us, uneasy chuckles bubbled up at the table, half amusement, half discomfort. I didn't laugh. I just stared at her. My fork hovered midair. The roast chicken on my plate went cold. Settled too soon. We had been married 9 years. Built a home. Paid bills together. Shared laughter and scars. Crafted a life I thought was a foundation for forever. And now, in front of our friends, she was hinting that maybe I had been the wrong choice all along. I didn't demand clarification. I didn't give her the drama she might have expected. I quietly placed my napkin on the table, pushed back my chair, and walked out. Outside, the night air bit my skin, but the heat in my chest propelled me forward. I wandered aimlessly past glowing storefronts and couples strolling hand in hand until I reached the river. The water flowed lazily beneath the streetlights, glinting and indifferent, as if oblivious to the chaos twisting inside me. I wanted to tell myself it was nothing, a careless joke, a throwaway comment born of too much wine. But I knew better. That sentence carried weight, the weight of something that had been simmering beneath the surface for months, waiting to spill out. I had seen the signs. Late nights turning into team drinks, fleeting flashes of her phone screen. She quickly turned from me, subtle changes in the way she dressed for seemingly harmless meetings. I told myself I was imagining things, that I was paranoid. But tonight, that illusion shattered. When I finally returned home, the house was dark. Her car was gone. I sat on the couch, scrolling my phone without actually reading anything, just waiting. At 1:13 a.m., headlights cut across the curtains. She came in, smelling of whiskey and expensive perfume, her heels clicking against the tiles. "Why'd you leave like that?" she asked, tossing her purse onto the counter. "You embarrass me," I said, voice bitter and sharp. She blinked, feigning innocence. "It was a joke, Mark." Everyone laughed. "No," I replied quietly. "They laugh because they don't know what I know." Her brow furrowed. "What are you talking about?" For a moment, I almost said it. The accusation I'd held back. But I had no proof, only suspicions and the echo of that sentence in my head. So I stayed silent. I stood, went upstairs, and closed the bedroom door behind me. That night marked the start of something I never wanted to become. A quiet detective in my own marriage. Over the next week, I combed through phone bills, bank statements, and photos her co-workers posted from nights out. Then, one Thursday afternoon, I found an email, not hidden, not encrypted, just lazily deleted, sitting in her trash folder. Asterisk, last night was amazing. Can still taste you. Can't wait for the conference next month. D asterisk. My stomach twisted. The sender was Daniel Reeves, her boss. I thought back to his smug grin at last year's office Christmas party, the way he complimented her dress just a little too warmly. I stared at the email until my hand stopped shaking, then forwarded it to my private account, shut her laptop, and closed the lid on the confrontation I had imagined countless times. I thought I was ready for it. The accusations, the yelling, the tearful confession I was certain would come. But when she came home that night, humming softly as she kicked off her heels, I just watched her, pouring wine, checking her phone, smiling at whatever she saw there. What hurt most wasn't betrayal itself. It was how effortlessly she carried on, like nothing had changed, like I had already been written out of her story. So I waited. A week later, she suggested we go out to dinner. Just the two of us. I feel like we've been distant. "Let's fix that," she said, brushing her fingers along my arm. We returned to the same restaurant, sat at the same table. The irony almost made me laugh. She ordered wine. I had water. Halfway through the meal, she leaned toward me. "Mark, are you happy with us?" I really looked at her then. Somewhere inside her was a woman I married, but this version of her was hiding something. "Are you?" I asked. She smiled softly. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? I wanted to shout the truth, show her the email, demand answers. But I didn't. I nodded, drained my water, and let her speak as if nothing had happened. The next morning, I sat in a lawyer's office. We discussed options, property division, joint accounts, what proof I'd need. He advised me to stay calm, to gather evidence without tipping her off. So I played the part of the oblivious husband, kissed her cheek as she left for late meetings, mowed the lawn, cooked dinner. All the while, quietly, I built my escape plan. 3 weeks later, the last piece fell into place. At a mutual friend's dinner party, surrounded by the same circle of friends and polite laughter, she said it again. Sometimes I think I settled too soon. This time, there was an edge in her voice. Something inside me shut off. I didn't argue, didn't create a scene. I placed my napkin down, stood, and walked out. I didn't go home. She called 17 times that night, texted 5 more. By morning, her tone had shifted from confusion to anger to panic. Where are you? You're being childish. Mark, please, let's talk. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent the forwarded email. No explanation, just the subject line. I know. 2 hours later, she was at my brother's house, pounding on the door, makeup streaked down her face. Mark, please, she whispered when I opened it. It's not what you think. Then explain it. I said flatly. She hesitated, then exhaled. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I shook my head. You humiliated me, joked about our marriage to friends. And you call it nothing? Tears filled her eyes. I was lonely. You were always working, always tired. Stop. I cut her off. You made a choice. Now I'm making mine. The divorce happened quietly. I never told our friends why. Didn't drag her name through the mud, though I considered it. She lost the promotion she had been chasing after HR received the anonymous email I sent. She kept the apartment. I kept my dignity. Betrayal doesn't explode all at once. It seeps in like a slow toxin until one day you realize you're no longer the same person. I still think about that dinner. One careless remark shattered the illusion I'd been living in. If she hadn't said it, maybe I'd still be sitting across from her, smiling like everything was fine. But betrayal isn't just the act. It's the moment you realize the person you trusted most was always capable of it. For me, that moment arrived in a room full of laughter, a glass of wine in my hand, and a sentence I'll never forget.